Thank you. I want to share briefly my own personal story. And my story is about God's love and God's grace. I am here today because of God's great love. I was born and grew up in a rural, remote village in Ethiopia. And my father was Satan worshiper and alcoholic. He had 3 wives, and he had demonic power. He was able to bring rain and to stop rain. When he cursed people, people died immediately. But there were so many instructions that demons gave my father to obey. For example, he was required to wake up every morning at 5 o'clock and drink alcohol, and he had one big glass that must always be full with alcohol. And he would beat his wives almost every day, and he would smoke non-stop. We were not allowed, for example, to eat food prepared at home until the first big portion was taken out and given to demons just behind our house under a big coffee tree. It was so complicated, but whenever my dad missed obeying those instructions, the demons manifested themselves, and they said, "You disobeyed us, we came to punish you." And immediately a child would die in our home. And as a result of that, I recently learned from my dad that I used to say 8 children died, but 12 children died from my dad's 3 wives, including 4 children from my mom. When I was born, my parents were not sure whether I would grow up or die like my siblings. And until I was 4 years of age, I was not given a name because my parents were not sure whether I would grow up. But when I reached age 4, my parents saw that I was growing, and they gave me a name, Bekele. Bekele means when you sow a seed on the ground, the seed germinates. And Bekele means he is germinating. There is life, there is hope in him. That's the meaning of my name. And when I was 5 years of age, the demon said to my dad, "We want you to train your son to follow your footsteps. We want him to grow up to serve me." And I was dedicated to serve Satan at the age of 5. And as a testimony of that dedication, I was asked to begin drinking alcohol and smoking at age 5. And I was doing that. And I was going everywhere my dad went and learning from him how to serve Satan. But when I was 5 years of age, when we were living in that dark, hopeless life with no hope, we were not sure whether we would live or die the next day, God, by his grace, sent 2 angels to come and meet my dad. They came and explained to my dad what heaven is like and hell is like, and my dad tells us that the angels took him to a brief tour to heaven and hell. They showed him both places, and at the end they asked him, "Where do you want to be?" And my dad said, "I want to be in heaven." And then the angel said, "I will send 2 men, they will come and tell you how you can get into heaven." And the angel smiled at him and left. That was Wednesday night. 2 days later, Friday night, 2 men came. Those 2 men had become Christians just a week before that day, and they were illiterate people. God sent them to come and meet my dad. They came and explained about God's love through Jesus Christ, and they asked my dad to accept Jesus and to deny demons. And Friday night, my dad gave his life. My mother gave her life to Christ. And when I was 5 years of age. Then 2 days later, Sunday morning, something miraculous happened to my dad. My dad had never been to school. He was illiterate. He couldn't read or write. And he was keeping cows alongside a river. And on the ground, he finds a New Testament on the ground. And we don't know from where that New Testament had come from because everybody worshipped demons during that time in that village. And my dad picked up the book and he started to open the pages, and all of a sudden he hears a voice saying, "This is my word." And my dad decided to go and sit down under the shade of a tree, and he opened the book and he said, "God, is this your voice? If it is your voice, can you help me to read it? Because I can't read it." And immediately my dad started reading the Bible. And that afternoon, he came back home and he said, "I want the whole village to come to my place." And because he had demonic power and influence, people did whatever he asked, so the entire village came. And he stood up and he told the people, above 400 people came, and he told them what happened to him, that how two angels visited him, how two men came 2 days ago, and they told him about Jesus Christ. And he found this book today, and he could read. And you can't believe that the first text that he read from that New Testament was from 1 John chapter 5, verses 11 to 13, which says, if you have the Son of God, you have life. It's amazing. And then he asked people to deny demons and to believe in Jesus. The whole village of above 400 people came to Jesus that night. And that was 37 years ago, so you can calculate how old I am. And my dad went to be with the Lord 6 weeks ago, very, very recently. For the last 37 years, the only book my dad could read is the Bible. If you give him any other book and ask him to read to you, he cannot even show you this is A or this is B. And we ask him, Dad, the letters are the same. How can you read this book and you cannot read the other one? He says, when I open the book, that's the Bible, great light from heaven shines upon this book and my eyes could see. Brothers and sisters, we serve a great God. We serve the great God. And our God, the creator of the universe, he is not dead. He is alive, he is powerful, he is working even today. So today I'm here because of God's love. I grew up in that family, and I went to college, and I went to college, started working for government in Ethiopia, and I was given full scholarship to come and study at Emory University in Atlanta. I came in 1992 to study for about 8 to 10 years, but just 4 weeks into my journey at Emory University, God appeared to me and he said, my child, I have a different plan for your life. I want you to go back to Ethiopia and serve my purpose. And it was very difficult for me to say yes, but 7 consecutive days God spoke to me, and I decided to go back to Ethiopia without knowing what God had for me. So I went back and got married, and we joined Campus Crusade for Christ in Ethiopia. It's a long story, but in 1998, as I was leading Campus Crusade for Christ in Ethiopia, God put a vision in my heart to reach our capital city of Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, that had 3.1 million people, and the vision was to reach the whole city in 52 days, following the example of Nehemiah, where he rebuilt the broken walls in 52 days. And we said, if God used Nehemiah to build the broken walls in 52 days, he can use us to do the same. And we trusted God. And it was amazing. I can only say it was amazing. In 52 days, we trained more than 10,000 people. We had 25 different strategies, and we saw 49,000 people coming to Christ. After that, I was promoted in Campus Crusade for Christ and given a leadership responsibility of 23 nations in Southern and Eastern Africa, and we moved to Zimbabwe with my wife and 3 children. And with my wife, we started to pray, God, what do you want to do in Southern and Eastern Africa? And God, I felt that God was saying, you have seen my power, what I can do. I can do 50 times more than what I did in your city. And I took that literally to mean I did 51 city in Ethiopia. God wants to do 50 times more than that. That means 50 cities. So we came up with a vision called 50-50-50. That means 50 major cities in 23 nations in Southern and Eastern Africa to reach 50 million people in 50 days. And people say, this is crazy. How can this happen in 23 nations at the same time? Churches will not work together. This is unrealistic plan. But I said, God, during Moses, he parted the Red Sea. During Joshua, God dried up the river Jordan, and he ordered the sun to stand still, and he is the same God. Because if we don't believe, we limit God. God is able to work. And we started sharing the vision and training people. It was really amazing. We trained 500,000 people to be involved in that campaign in 50 cities. 20,000 churches joined in that vision. 20,000 churches joined in that vision. 300 major Christian mission organizations joined in that vision. Even African American churches from Detroit and the surrounding areas, they sent 300 people to be part of that. And they told me that was the largest mission mobilization at one time from those churches. We did not only reach 50 million people. We reached 64.5 million people in those 50 days. From those 64.5 million people, 1,720,000 people made decision to follow Christ in 50 days. The things I have learned from leading that, I have learned so many things. Just to mention some of the things I have learned, when we are united, when we work together, there is power in unity. There is power in unity. And when people tell you that people will not cooperate when the churches don't work together, it's a lie. It's a lie from the enemy. People are ready, churches are ready to work together, but they are waiting for a vision to unite them. That is what I have learned. I have also learned that in every church, there are people who are talented, who are gifted, who can do great things, but they are waiting for somebody, for their leaders, to show them what to do. If we don't show them, they come every Sunday, they sit, they go back home. They come next week, they sit, they go back home. They don't do anything, and their life is wasting away without doing something meaningful to Jesus Christ. So there is a talent in every church, and my prayer and my conviction is that through each, those talents will emerge, and Detroit will never be the same, and that all those gifts will come together to glorify Jesus Christ. I have also learned this. When there is vision, vision attracts people, vision attracts resources, vision attracts creativity. You are going to be amazed by the number of creative ideas that will come to each campaign. You will be amazed by what people will do and could do through this campaign. And I'm also convinced that each is not going to remain in Detroit. God is calling you. God is calling you, Detroit, to be a center of movement of gospel which will not be stopped by any force, by any power. God is going to use you. It is my prayer that through your obedience and through your unity, that God will make Detroit a center of model spiritual movement for all the cities in the United States of America and even to the world. God is able to do it. He is able to do it. God is going to use you. God is going to use your church. Bob, thank you so much for saying yes. All the leaders, thank you so much for opening up yourself, your heart, your church to believe something great and something impossible for the glory of God and for our Lord Jesus Christ. America needs Jesus, Detroit needs Jesus, and Jesus will make a difference, and He is with us. He is doing great things, and He is ready to do great things. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, Bekele.